Welcome to Community Trust Network, using trusts to keep your assets private. The benefits of trust start with personal privacy, avoiding probate, protecting your assets, preserving inheritance, and overall financial wellness because it's important to protect your family today and for future generations. The history of trust, they actually date back to the time of Julius Caesar. Throughout our history, we've seen families use trust, prominent families like the Kennedys use trust to protect their wealth, and even the privacy aspect, as with Walt Disney when he purchased his Orlando properties to build his famous theme park Disney World. He bought the properties through trust using separate trustees so no one knew it was him making the purchases. In the words of John D. Rockefeller, control everything, own nothing. But why don't more people use trust? Well, there's a lack of understanding and knowledge. There's intimidation and expensive attorney's fees, which is why only about 1% of the people use trust, but we can help you set up an estate trust plan for a fraction of the cost of using an attorney, so it is certainly within your reach. One of the main reasons why you want to use a trust is to avoiding probate and lawsuits, because America is a very litigious society, and attorneys everywhere are looking to sue you for your assets, or not even the attorney, but their clients, and that's how they get paid. So you want to watch out for some of these guys. Which property goes into a trust? Quite frankly, we think anything with value should go into a trust, because if you don't own it, they can't take it. Let's talk about the key components of a trust. It begins with the trustee, who holds the legal and equitable title for the real property and is subject to direction for the beneficiary. The beneficiary, of course, retains the power of direction over the trust unless they choose to delegate that power or authority to another individual. The goal of the trust is to manage and secure the trust asset. The trustee must always put the best interest of the trust and its beneficiaries before his own. The other goal is to protect the interest of the beneficiary. The primary purpose of a trust is to keep assets private and away from public domain. The trustee is not to disclose beneficiary details unless ordered by a court or directed by the beneficiary to do so. The types of trusts we administer are land trusts, to keep your real estate investments private, your personal property trust for cars, jewelry, investment accounts, and valuable items like that, management trust to actually help manage your estate, and living trust to provide the direction to your estate. That's really your inheritance. So that all comes together for a multi-trust estate setup to provide complete privacy. Are your assets exposed? You see here we've got John and Jane Smith in this sample Palm Beach County, Florida property record. Okay, so this is a fictitious record, and you see the owners. We show John and Jane Smith over there on Main Street. Having your name on county record informs the world about the property you own, so you really want to avoid this exposure. Exposure certainly creates liabilities because creditors can use court judgments to seize your personal property if you allow them to do so. Additional ownership liability can be slip and fall, or anything that can create an unwanted lawsuit, because lawsuits can certainly happen. So having your name attached to the property creates that additional liability. So when you use a land trust, you can create that privacy. See here, you see John and Jane are now the Main Street Land Trust, and then the trustee here is the ABC Corp. Okay, and now it looks like they might be collecting mail at a P.O. box, but of course this is completely fictitious, and there is no true town called Safe Now, New York. But by keeping your name off of public record and still in control of your asset, you can avoid these unnecessary headaches. Now, the other benefits of land trusts are there's no due on sale clause. So when the deed is transferred into a trust for estate planning purposes and there is no change of beneficial interest, the mortgage is not accelerated. There's also no sales tax, because when real property is transferred into a borrower's estate, there is no change of beneficial interest. Sales tax and doc stamps are not required. Personal property trust. A motor vehicle can create the most liability for an individual. Placing your car in a trust can reduce or eliminate liability. Placing your vehicle into a trust consists of transferring it into a title, so it's no longer owned by you, but it's owned by the trust. So that means if someone else is in an accident with your car or your vehicle, you are not personally responsible. Okay, it's in the trust, and you are an operator of that vehicle. You are still responsible for anything with your own driver's license. But here are some other items to be placed in a trust. You might have fine china, the boat, the jewelry, but any property that has value or could create liability should be placed into a trust, because again, you want to avoid lawsuits and property seizure. So obviously the boat would create some liability because it's a moving vehicle. The management and direction is run by the management trust. These are unique trust entities used to manage or provide trustee services to land trust, personal property trust, or even living trust. Now, the living trust, as the beneficiary to all other trusts, at least within our philosophy, provides direction for the entire estate. Accounting and bookkeeping. Bank accounts can be established in the name of the trust for record-keeping purposes. The trustee is responsible for these records and should always consult with an accountant. Here's what a trust won't provide. It won't protect you from foreclosure. If a property is owned by a land trust or living trust, this will not stop a bank foreclosure. The mortgage can be placed into the trust, but the terms in the contracts remain, and the borrower is still responsible for that debt obligation. The trust also won't protect from a repossession of a vehicle. If a vehicle is owned by a personal property trust, the note must continue to be paid. The note can also be placed into the trust, but the terms of the contract are still in place, and of course the borrower is still responsible for that debt obligation. So just like anything, if you don't pay, they can take it, trust or not. Now again, there's no protection from foreclosure, so if you are behind on your mortgage or facing foreclosure, speak with a foreclosure defense attorney before transferring property into a trust. Also beware of local trust laws. Do some research, because while trusts are generally governed by the federal law, it's important to acknowledge specific state laws and guidelines. So for Florida, for example, you have the Land Trust Act, and there are also specific state statutes specifically related to how land trusts should operate in that state. So always do a little bit of research, speak with a trust consultant or trust company or even an attorney to make sure you know for your state. Now, trusts are not a replacement for insurance. A trust does not protect against damage to a vehicle. If it's in an accident, it's not going to, if your house has a tree fall like you see there, it's not going to fix that. The trust will not protect you if your asset is stolen. It is simply an entity that holds title. Now, the living trust is what provides direction to your estate. What happens to the home? Who receives the antiques and the fine china? Which son gets the baseball card collection? Which daughters get which porcelain dolls? So a living trust keeps you in control of your family's inheritance, avoiding those costly attorney's fees that come with probate. Here are the services we provide at Community Trust Network. We're dedicated to educating families about the importance of trust and placing personal and real property into trust. We offer trust preparation and administration, trustee services and education, the multi-trust estate plan. We have land trust only setups, and customized solution to fit your specific needs, because trusts no longer have to be enjoyed primarily by the wealthy. Learn how to eliminate liability and manage your own trust. Give yourself control. Here again we see some examples, and these are fictitious of course, but this is Broward County, Florida. We have the East Atlantic Ocean Trust, Land Trust, with the Lauderdale Community Trust as trustee. We also have the sample below from a county in Jersey with the Main Street Trust. And again, these are just samples, because we want you to see that placing your assets into the trust and protecting your estate is not a privilege for only the wealthy or elite. It's now available for everyone. So enjoy peace of mind, and we hope we can help you do that. If you'd like to find out more information, give us a call or visit us online to discuss the perfect strategy for you and your family. You can visit us at communitytrustnetwork.com or contact us at 561-907-6961 or 347-850-4433. Thank you very much.